Hi guys. So this is my Sunday live. God, what day? What month is it? It is Sunday the 11th of October. Um, oh yeah, I'm really shattered to be really honest with you. Um, I was doing delivering a bereavement and loss course last weekend, so I decided it was just too much of a push to do the live last week, and so I knew I was moving this week, and but the thought of not doing a live 2 weeks running and saying to people, oh, I won't be doing a live this week as well, it didn't sit well with me. It didn't feel right. And I'm a big one for when I'm committed to something, being reliable and so forth. So I'm laughing. Yeah. So I'm tired. I'm aching. I'm shattered. But I'm here. And actually, I'm still at home now. I'm still in the middle of. We literally moved from one place to another, and we're cleaning there, here, and so forth. So I've been there all day, and I'm doing my live, and I'm actually going back because we've still got lots of stuff to do. But hey ho, but yeah, that, I don't know if you know that feeling, that slightly manic feeling of like, oh my god, what am I doing? But anyway, it's all good. It's all good. I'm really glad to be here, by the way, guys. Especially because I missed you last week. So, yeah, I was looking back actually on some of my various things that I've shared previously, and one of the things that I was thinking about was the questionnaire that I sent out to particularly a number of coaches. We're going back quite a few months now, and it was all about courage and various questions about that. And one of the main key questions, which sounds really obvious probably, was what does courage mean to them? So when I was looking back at the notes, I just thought some of their comments and their feedback was quite interesting, so I was having a look at that. And one of the first things that came up time and time again, because there was themes that were running throughout it. One of the themes was doing the right thing. So this is one of the things that people said, meant courage for people. Hi, Mandy. And I thought to myself, doing the right thing. Yeah, what does that mean? How does that link to courage? And I thought to myself, I think this can be quite hard on many levels. If you're with, for example, other people, or you're around other people who see things differently or think differently, have different views, different perceptions, I think standing up for what you believe and you feel, hi Mandy, can be really quite challenging actually. Or if, for example, you see some sort of injustice or poor behaviour, as I would call it, it can feel like you're on your own. You're out on a bit of a limb, really, in terms of what other people may feel around you, and they may not be in alignment with what you're thinking at that point. I also was thinking about this earlier, and I recalled someone who their mom was very against a relationship that they got involved in. And to be fair, as an adult and as a mother, they had some really, really valid points. I could completely understand why they were not happy with this, sort of person going out with this particular guy. But there came a point where it was really interesting. I think the person concerned, not the person who wasn't happy about it, the person who was going out with the guy, I think there came a point, and I'm talking quite a way into the relationship, where I think deep down they knew that in terms of, the right thing, the courageous thing, they knew it wasn't really quite right for them. They knew they weren't quite happy. They knew it wasn't quite working. But because of their pride, because they were, more worried and concerned about losing face, They almost felt like they'd gone, you know, too far, if you like, into this relationship and what other people might sort of say and think. And perhaps I imagine them thinking, oh, people around are going to go, oh yeah, told you so. And it's that sort of, you know, sort of stuff, sort of comments, that they actually continue to stay in that relationship. And, you know, the thing is, it wasn't making them happy, it wasn't right for them, but actually they were staying because also they were concerned and, you know, not afraid, well, maybe they were afraid, but, you know, they were bothered about what other people might perceive. And it felt like, in a way, that this is what they led themselves to believe, that they were too far involved, they were too far into it, you know, to almost try and come back from it. So that was also, you know, reminding me of, doing the courageous thing, doing the right thing in that situation there, because of pride, because of what they were concerned about, how other people might perceive them, that they didn't do what they felt was right for them. Another thing that people had said in this questionnaire that they felt courage was about. Oh, before I carry on, yeah, Metty said it. Yeah, I spent 13 years married to the wrong person for similar reasons. Yeah, I mean, it's really quite difficult, isn't it? I'm totally with you there. I think, and do you know what? I don't think that's unusual. I think people don't really, people don't say it, they don't talk about it, they don't share it, because, you know, why would you? Because it's a very, very, very difficult one. Once you're in it and you're there, it's like, how on earth do you have that conversation? You know, it's a very, very hard one, I think, for a lot of people, and people almost feel, to some degree, do you know what? I think it's much easier to just keep on, carry on, you know, stay where I am, sort of thing. But deep down, it doesn't make you happy. It's not right, and in fact, what starts to happen, I think, is it starts to take its toll on the individual concerned as well. So I'm totally with you there. Yeah, and also, yeah. So hi, Jake. Hello, actual Vanda. You're so funny. Hi. So another hi, Chris. Another comment that people had made about what courage actually meant. It's really interesting. Things that people wouldn't necessarily maybe think are that obvious, but self-acceptance. That was another piece that came up. Self-acceptance, but also acceptance of difficult things. And that's really interesting, difficult things. So, for example, when I did the bereavement and loss course last week, there were a number of people who described the process of it taking a lot of courage to accept certain things that they perhaps were in denial about for quite a long time, to them, not only to other people, but to themselves as well. So, for example, some of the things that people were sharing on the course was the courage to accept that not only had they been in denial, but then to get to a point of actually being able to acknowledge that and say to themselves, just as much as others, that, you know, they were, for example, addicted to drugs, or to, say, for example, to alcohol. And they were saying, a couple of people shared this and said, it took a lot of courage for them to accept, first of all, they were lying to themselves, and also, I think, the impact that it was really having on a lot of other people around them. Another person on the course said it took courage to accept that they were actually holding on to bitterness and anger towards an ex. And this, hi Neil, clean buddy, this was, we're talking at least, it was probably even more than this, but we're talking at least 10, 12 years ago. So, you know, it wasn't just like, you know, short term or a couple of years. And they said that they felt that this relationship breakdown had affected them in so many ways, because they had really anticipated, you know, they'd almost, what's the word I'm looking for? They'd put so many things on this relationship and what this meant for them, how this was going to change their life, how this was going to work. And when it didn't, they basically blamed this person for a long, long time. And they continued, hi Grenville, they continued to blame them. And what it did was it actually left them quite bitter. It also affected them being able to consider, being trustworthy. Well, not them being trustworthy, perhaps, but maybe that could be it. But them being able to trust other people, go into relationships. So it really started to affect how they felt about, other relationships. And in fact, what they were doing for quite a long time was avoiding them completely. And so what they were saying was it took a lot of courage to accept that actually, if they were really honest, they were probably putting themselves in the victim mode for quite a long time. And that what they hadn't been doing was taking their part to play in how they had, got to that point where the relationship had broken down. And as I said, this was a number of years later, but they were accepting that it was taking some courage to turn around and say, yeah, do you know what? I did have a part to play. I'm now continuing for years to be to put myself in this victim role, and actually, it's not good for me. It's not empowering. It's not fulfilling. It's not enabling me to, move on in future relationships as well. So that was their, moment of courage actually, where they turned around and said, you know what? Yeah, I totally accept this, and I'm not, going to allow this to continue to affect my life anymore. Another one that people shared about what courage was being able to ask difficult questions. And I thought, yeah, I can see this. It's interesting though, I was thinking as well, what constitutes a difficult question is going to be different for different people, depending upon the context. So asking a difficult question, for example, can take courage if someone is afraid of what they're going to hear. So that can almost be the build up to, do I really want to know? Can I really ask? Can I really say this? Because actually I'm almost afraid of what I might hear. Also, it may and can possibly lead to what somebody might see as a painful conversation. However, what struck me, and I know this from experience time and time again, is by not doing it, you keep yourself small, restricted. You end up actually over time not really being happy with yourself. And you know that deep down inside. And I think that sort of starts to grate and bear away. And I think it sort of gets people down. I think it actually also bears away at people's soul as well, actually. I've also found that even though perhaps, like say, for example, I know some conversations may feel quite difficult to open up to, generally 99% of the time, on some level, it shifts the energy. And at some point, what it does is it shifts the stuckness. Now, that still may be a difficult space, the difficult, challenging conversations that may come from that. But often it will still shift and move how people are feeling in that given moment, and can bring something else that just breathes a different sort of life into it. And it certainly begins to shift what I call the status quo. Hi, trees. So sometimes as well, you may have all sorts of things that we think the conversation is going to lead to. So I think often what we do in our own minds, I know we all do it from time to time, is we have our own conversations in our own heads. We preempt what we think people are going to say, what people are going to do. And honestly, and again, this is from experience, 99% of the time, I'm only talking about myself here, but I say that, but I'm actually talking about a lot of other people who've shared this with me as well. It's not really as bad as what you think it might be. I think we often make up this stuff that's going to go on in our own heads. So that's useful to bear in mind. It's not always as bad as what we think it's going to be. Now, an interesting one, another thing that people said from the questionnaire about courage, they actually said courage was being who you are. Okay, being who you are. And I was thinking about this, and I thought, okay, so often, and I'm sure we've all experienced this, when you go into new relationships, new friendships for the first time, you've probably heard the phrase, it's called the honeymoon period. So most people, whether they do it consciously or not, they're on the best behaviour. They may have slightly rose-tinted glasses on as well about how they're viewing somebody else. If it's a romantic one, generally the hormones are running wild as well, so there's all sorts of other things involved. But often we tend to see at that point a lot of the good things. But over time, I think people can often feel worried about showing other aspects of themselves. They might not always feel good about. They might worry all of a sudden about what the other person might think if they really knew that they weren't always feeling fantastic and wonderful all the time, or they had some insecurities, or they didn't have a perfect life or a perfect background. But actually, it's important to take what I call the risk at some point in any level of relationship, but I think particularly when it's fairly new, you have to get to a point where you have to question, okay, so when do I take the risk to be what I call more vulnerable and show other parts of yourself, other aspects of yourself that you know exist within you and make up the person you are? Because otherwise, I think if you're not going to do that at some point, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to show up in a certain way all the time. And generally what happens is if you continue to do that, because you can't keep it up 24/7, at some point others are going to end up being disappointed because they're not going to feel, thought this person was this type of person and thought they were one thing. Oh no, but it's turned out, they're not that at all, they're something else. So it sort of backfires in a way as well. And also what I thought at the time was this is linked back for me to self-acceptance, because the more you work on loving all aspects of yourself, the more you will feel that you're able to show other parts of yourself that make you the person you are. So for example, I used to sometimes feel, didn't feel always quite comfortable at showing my more sensitive side, or what I would call my quirky side, or my slightly off the wall side. But actually, over time, I'm like, no, do you know what? I like those aspects to myself. They make me who I am, and I'm all right with that. Thank you very much. And so there is a point where, in terms of self-acceptance and accepting those parts of yourself, if you can say to yourself at some point, do you know what? Be unapologetically, long word, you, then those who are the right people in your life will be drawn to you and to those aspects of yourself. Also, people who are those right people for you are going to accept all aspects of yourself anyway, even the stuff that you might think, oh, I feel uncomfortable, I'm not sure about sharing that. They will sort of love you no matter what, and know that at the end of the day, nobody is perfect. Got news for you. Nobody's perfect, not even me. So it's really important, do you know what I mean, to be able to know that I can accept all these other parts of a person, because that's what makes us human as well, human beings. And I think also within that people generally, even if they're not, your soulmates or your best friends or whatever, I think they'll actually end up respecting you a lot more. They might not always say it, you might not always know it, but I think they will respect you a lot more as well. So that's my sort of, piece at the moment on my conversation around courage. And some of the things that people had shared a number of months ago now, some of the coaches I spoke to. So I thought that'd be quite nice to share with you. I've got two, just looking at the camera there. I've got two poems that I want to read to you. The first one, and these are my own poems, those of you who've sort of watched before, they're poems I've created myself. So the first one, guys, is called To Notice. What is it to notice? To really notice, to see, and sometimes acknowledge. I see your teddy hanging off your backpack and wonder about its meaning. I see you smile to yourself as you read the messages on your phone. your lips moving, and you mime, reading some of it out loud, continuing to smile. I notice your beautiful hair, your ringlets, the way they fall and frame your face, the highlights that bring life to your face, the knowing glance we have as you touch up your makeup and realise I've seen you, and we smile at each other. You have a lovely smile. I see you're still looking at your messages and keep touching your lips in a knowing, personal, intimate way. I notice you carry the pink suitcase. The lady you're with is not carrying a bag. I wonder and imagine you're carrying the bag for her, for perhaps both of you. I see more and more people coming in. Once it had emptied, now it's filling up again. There must be a train due soon. I wonder how many people see my bags and think I'm also waiting for a train. I notice the teddy leaves. The man has a stern look on his face. I think he needs to make his face gentler if he's going to carry the teddy with him. Teddies need smiles, cuddles and laughter. Maybe the teddy brought you that once. Maybe he will again later. I see that the woman has a pink phone cover to match the pink suitcase. The suitcase the man carried in for you. I notice you've stopped looking at your phone. You mumble away to yourself under your breath. I cannot hear what you say. You sip your drink. I notice you have a wedding ring on your finger. I notice you appear to observe at times. Then others, you look lost in thought, as if you're seeing your thoughts before you. I notice you have big hands as you stand up. You pick up your gloves and then you're gone. You ask me if anyone is sitting there. I say no. I noticed your blue jeans earlier. They are a sea blue, vibrant and deep. I think about telling you, so I do. And I leave. So that was my first one. My second one I'm going to read to you guys is called Acceptance. So I thought this was quite appropriate for what I was sharing earlier. So, acceptance. Separate. Break down in order to build back up. I said everything is possible. Why do you say most things are possible? Why most? Why not all? What do you have to say for yourself? People can't always see their own beauty. Sometimes you have to take a step back to gain perspective. Step back in time. Don't stop believing. Black is black. I want my baby back. Grey is grey. Since you went away, what can I do? I'm feeling blue and pink and yellow and grey. When will my reflection show who I really am? Can you ever really show who you are 100%? Don't be afraid, be you. Take the risks. You can't really lose because at least you will know, and that means you will know where you stand and your position. What is your position? What is it in relation to me? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust me? Do I trust myself? What is trust anyway? It's tea with a bit of rust. What does that mean? Take the rough with the smooth. It's all relative. Just stick it on my head. Let awareness stand up. Stand up to take care. Stand up to be proud. Stand up for yourself, for others. Stand up for what you believe in. Stand for honest communication. Be upstanding for everyone trying to get through. Be the face of the believer. Believe in hope, in transforming, trust, intimacy and communication. Grasp the passion, grab it and squeeze it for what it's worth while you have the energy, before you give in to the tiredness, to bad habits and lethargy. Break the mould. Break the habits of a lifetime. Accept yourself and everyone else for who they are, for the journey they're on, for making it this far. Be thankful. That was my second poem, Acceptance. And finally, guys, we've come to my little ditty. Now, I've actually sung this one before, but it was quite a while back. I think it was early in the lockdown. I've decided to sing it today because, sadly, this dear person died this week. So I also noticed that when I've noticed somebody who has passed away and they're quite a big name in the singing world, I always think it's quite a nice tribute to them as well. So, can't see you all. We can see conversations though. Please feel free to jig, move, sing, dance along, swing from the lampshades, whatever you want, guys. But yeah, just have a little bit of a uplifting, fun moment with it right now, with everything else that's going on in your life, in the world, whatever. This is your moment. So, you ready? I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Bright, bright, sunshiny day. Thank you guys. I noticed actually when I was so close to the camera's bobbing along, I kept seeing the camera sort of move a little bit as well. Oh, thank you, Mandy. That really cheers her up. And Therese as well. Really loved and enjoyed it. Deeply thought-provoking poems. Thank you. Thank you. That really means a lot. Really, it wasn't long before the lockdown, you know, guys, that my poems really were very personal to me, because they are quite, yeah, they're quite personal in terms of what I create. So there was a period of time where I think I was quite scared of sharing them, actually. I wouldn't have even took the risk. I felt quite vulnerable sharing that and exposing myself with it. I don't know. But yeah, and yet now I feel really good about it, actually. And I feel really good to be able to sort of share that with other people. So thank you. That really means a lot. So, yes, I'm still in the middle of getting stuff sorted with moves. So as soon as I come off this call, I'm going off to do some more cleaning. No, isn't it? The reality of life. So guys, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I'm really glad I really committed and took the time out to do this, because it means a lot to me, actually. And I feel it's important to show up. You know, something about loyalty and commitment, and all sorts of things there. So when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So thank you. Have a wonderful evening. There's still a number of hours left. Have a fantastic week, whatever it brings, and just absolutely show up, be yourself, guys. Be true to you, do what's right for you. It's like life is too short and we don't have a lot of time on this earth, you know, in relative terms, in the context of the whole universe. So guys, make the most of it, really. So love you guys, and I shall speak to you later. Lots of warmth, lots of sparkle. Take care. Bye. Bye. Thank you, Mandy.